After I made the hard decision to walk away from the first people that I felt ever truly loved me, I was drowning in regret and depression. I knew I would never get an opportunity to be loved like this, and I couldn't help but think that it was all my fault, that I ruined everything. During this time, I started to feel like everybody would be happier if I just disappeared. I felt like nobody cared about me, nobody saw me, and it was best that I just go away. The voices in my head telling me I was worthless just was getting louder and louder. And it seemed like no matter how much I drank or how many pills I popped, nothing could make them stop. I was ready to make them go away. I was ready to quiet them. I was ready to end them forever. So one night, I drove to the cemetery where my friend was buried. I had a firearm. I remember it was cold outside, so the metal was cold against my hand and against my head. It was raining, and there was a slight breeze, and every time the wind blew, all I could smell was the dump across the street. I remember thinking that the last thing that I was gonna smell before I took my own life was gonna be trash. I sat there as the voices just got louder and louder and louder. You're not worthy. You're not enough. No one will ever love you. No one will ever love you. No one will ever love you. Just do it. Suddenly I heard tires and the dirt coming toward me. And the light of a car started getting brighter and brighter. As the vehicle got closer, I realized that it was my friend's mom, the friend whose grave I was at. I hurried and tucked the firearm because I knew if she understood what was going on, it would break her heart. I got up, walked over to her car, and she asked me, "Hey baby, what are you doing here?" I said I couldn't sleep. She said me neither. I fell into her arms and just started weeping. Little did she know that night she may have saved my life. I guess a part of me looked at this situation as hope, as maybe I'm meant to be here. And although I had allowed myself to stay alive, I hadn't made a decision to truly live. So the voices got a little quiet. They turned into a whisper. They were still there, but they weren't as loud. And I would water them down with alcohol. I was drinking every day, popping Molly on the weekends, making the pain go away. It had gotten out of control. I was extremely reckless, and I didn't care about myself or anybody else. I was destroying relationships, pushing people away. I was getting myself into dangerous situations like driving over the median in the highway, popping my tires on the way to work because I hit a curb too hard, drinking and driving. Waking up in parking lots to the police knocking on my window, calling an ambulance because they thought I overdosed. Driving into ongoing traffic on the highway while everybody behind me was supposed to be following me home after a party. No matter how many times I got myself in these crazy situations, it seemed like nothing shook me. No matter how many times I had to wake up and look out the window to see if my car was still there. No matter how many times I took out a whole street of side mirrors drinking and driving. No matter how many times I had to check my bank account to make sure I didn't spend every dollar I had. Or how many times I woke up in a stranger's house. Nothing shook me. See, when I was drunk, I couldn't remember. It was the only time I could forget everything I ever been through. All the shame and guilt, all the resentment, all the regret. It was the only time I felt free. One night, driving home from an ex's house after an argument, I got in an accident. I rear-ended a lady. And you guessed it, I was drunk. I had a fifth of Henny in my passenger seat. And I tried to convince the lady not to call the police. When she insisted, I jumped in my car and attempted to flee the scene. I was driving as fast as I could, trying to get away from her, but she was chasing me, calling the cops, letting them know that I was running. Eventually, they caught up with me. I pulled over, and as I'm sitting there, surrounded by lights and sirens, I remember thinking back to that moment when I was an 8-year-old little girl scared of the police because my mom had did something. The only difference was that my mom's addiction wasn't the problem this time, it was mine. I had spent my entire life trying not to be like her. Yet here I was leading a life that was almost the same. I got arrested that day, and when they put me in jail, I bailed myself out the next day and walked straight to the liquor store. See, this would have been most people's rock bottom. But for me, it was just another reason to drink. Like I said, nothing could shake me. I guess somewhere between popping my tires on the sidewalk and me getting arrested, I had made a subconscious decision. I made choice number 5. I don't remember when I made it, but it was clear that I had committed to repeating the pattern. I had became my mother.